Welcome back, guys. Duncan and I are back at it again. Duncan, how's it going?
I am fine. It's been a fun couple of weeks. We couldn't do it last week because of the event that was going on, because we didn't want to disrupt the big charity event, which got me banned off Twitter for a week, basically. So, yeah, it's good to be back here. I think we're going to have an interesting conversation because there's a lot to catch up on.
Wow. Well, while you were banned from Twitter for a few days, a lot has went on, and it's kind of crazy. But guys, I want to say something. So let me start off by this. Most of my content is for entertainment purposes. All right. So I just want to say that yes, there's some crazy topics and there's some things that you guys want to hear. And listen, we challenge you to comment and whatever. But for me, I'm gonna tell you, I'm an entertainer. I don't plan on hurting anyone's feelings. I don't plan on stirring the pot, but I do like to talk about sensitive subjects because it's entertaining. And I believe that there's people out there that do want to hear some of the stuff that I personally bring to the table, and the Duncan as well. You know, people call him the bad guy, but they want to hear what he has to say. All right. So with that said, we're going to start our show. We're going to touch on topics. We're going to talk about things. We'll take questions, and there you have it. So if you got questions, let it rip. Let's see who's in the chat real quick before we get started. What's going on, Raven? All right, we got Alex in the building. Raven again. So who's Pika? Do you know?
Pika? Pikachu?
Oh,
Pika?
All right, which one of us are supposed to be Pika?
No, right. That's what the way Raven comes in, and that's just him saying hello.
Okay, fair enough. I'm cool with that. While Unitrix is in the building, I've heard somebody else say that, so I was jumping in that. Kelly, what's going on? Let's see. We got Barry in the house and Raven again. So Duncan, where do we even start, man?
Okay, I want to say this. I want to get this out before we go all controversial.
Yes.
I think we weren't on last week. Stadia had another great week last week. I think we can both say that, and they've had an okay week this week as well, bar a controversy or two. But I'm assuming we will come to that.
Definitely. What about? I don't follow GFN that close. How have they been doing?
But I thought you were the face of GFN source.
No, I am a part of GSN, which is Gaming Source.
Yeah, because this is the first time we've talked since that.
Actually, it's the first time we talked. So wow. Okay, yeah. So as you guys know, Stadia Source has changed to Gaming Source Network, and so I've been a Stadia Source streamer. And I've been on numerous amounts of the podcast, the Roundtable podcast. And so me personally, I'm Team Stadia all the way. I'm Team Stadia Source all the way. Like I said, guys, I put out a video. Damn it. If you think Stadia Source is dead, well, it's not. Because number one, there's a StadiaSource.com. And number two, the all-purpose champ, the Cowboy, is still on the Gaming Source Network. So I bleed Stadia Source. So Stadia Source is very much alive. So don't you forget it. But with answering your question, Duncan, so I don't know much about the other cloud services. Like I've been paying attention to Xbox and XCloud, but because obviously they've been making moves, but I don't know too much about GFN. So I was curious if you
GFN are just continuing to do what they've been doing. They've been knocking out about 10, 12 games each week.
Okay.
Games may not appeal to everybody, but they are just being really, really consistent there and getting the games out. And a real big interesting one for me, and this may be boring to a lot of people, but the interesting one for me this week on GFN was they've actually put on a delisted game onto the service. By that, I mean it's a game which is no longer for sale on Steam, but you are able to buy it on or you're able to play it on GFN, which I think is really good, and that's preserving all the gaming history and stuff like that. So I think that was a real good thing. But GFN have just been consistent again, just chucking out all the games that they can.
Yeah, the most info I get on GFN, to be honest, well, recent anyway. I was watching the stream last week on the Cloud Gaming Extreme, and you guys talked a lot about you know, what are they doing right now, what is Stadia doing, and blah blah blah. So I watched that, and that was pretty entertaining. But yeah, I think it's cool that they got a game that you could no longer get. Look at Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right? That game was blocked for 10 years, and when they re-released it, people went crazy. I went crazy. I was streaming it on GSN the other night. That's what my stream was. So so that just shows that, you know, there's still a place for certain games that you can't get anymore. That's cool.
It's just great to see, because we'll see Xbox doing that as well, and PlayStation is just shutting down everything under the sun.
Right. Well, they're shutting down. They're shutting down. Like, you won't be able to make purchases on their older consoles and older systems anymore. But I'm assuming you could still get that same stuff from PlayStation 4 and 5, maybe. I don't know.
You can still buy the content up for another couple of weeks, then it's going to be no longer available. But I think it's a safe bet that's going to go on PlayStation now. I think you'll be able to get most of that on PlayStation now down the line. So yeah, it's just very, and the gaming space is just absolutely nuts.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Give me some predictions. So you've seen that Sony said that they're planning, first they're working on mobile. I think they're just meaning regular, just mobile phones, not that they're bringing, you know, and then that they said they're going to counter, they have something to counter Xbox Game Pass. And I feel there ain't no way in hell Xbox Game Pass is adding like new games, and there's no way in hell Sony would add a first party studio game to a pass. Like, could you imagine the money they would lose if God of War or The Last of Us or Uncharted was included in a pass? Because so many people are gonna buy that game anyway. So
yeah, it is fun. I think yes, they are going to counter it, because I think that is the way of business now. There is going to be subscriptions. The only people who can sort of get away with that at this moment and for the foreseeable future is going to be Nintendo, because they beat to their own drum. If you're just the average sort of guy or gal going into a shop and you just look at Outriders, you have to pay your $60.
Right.
Or you can get it on Game Pass. You know what you're going to go for. And the show going to Game Pass day and date and in the cloud is just ridiculous. And that is $70, or you get it on Game Pass.
I know somebody somebody told me I should stop name dropping. So I'm gonna stop name dropping, guys. But no, I get it. Let me stop name dropping. But I know someone who said MLB The Show going to Game Pass isn't that big of a deal. It's probably not gonna play as good. I said, you silly. If you think that game's not gonna be optimized to play great. And this is a big deal. You got a Sony only game going to Game Pass. How is that not in gaming? How is that not a big deal? Please let me know.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe some of the talk about that. It may not be the biggest game in the world, but it is a well-known game. It was a PlayStation exclusive, and it's just it's just the optics. It's all about how it looks out there, and that is what it's just real interesting. I just can't wait to see what else goes. With the rumors, with the Jason Schreier article yesterday, I think I actually said his name right for a change, about PlayStation dropping their AA sort of support, and they're just going to play it. They're just going to build the AAA games from now on. I think it is just real interesting the way PlayStation are positioning themselves. Right. It's just fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Well, yeah, I mean, PlayStation has a popularity. Listen, I personally, and I think the buzz on the street is Microsoft is looking really good in the next couple of years to be the king, right? Because of the value of Game Pass, but PlayStation is so popular. They sold more systems. if they could turn the ship around. Like, okay, their ship's already going in the right course, but now you got Microsoft. Me personally, might be a bigger ship at this point, right? Or in a weird way, right? Maybe they're a submarine, right? So they're, I don't know, but without the analogies. But if PlayStation come out with something pretty good, similar to a pass, again, I don't ever think I could see, like, maybe they might do like 6 months later, a PlayStation exclusive is guaranteed to come to the pass, right? So then you say like, do I wait 6 months and people spoil the game, or do I get it but knowing 6 months later it comes? Maybe that's the way to go, right? But I can't see day one. Now, Clive did say, ironically, the top selling game was on Xbox was Outriders, and I think that's a couple reasons. You got people with the pass, but then you got people who don't think the pass has value, right? So those people also want to get Outriders, so they're going to pay for Outriders.
And that is actually proven in the stats as well. If you actually go and read about Game Pass, what Clive is saying there is 100% right. People who Game Pass has so many added benefits that people don't actually see, and that is why the devs are bringing games to Game Pass. You have the pickup sales, they get the guaranteed money, they get all the DLC and things like this. This is why Game Pass is just totally and utterly revolutionary in the way it is going about things. And I think a lot of the publishers have just seen what has happened to Outriders since it has gone to Game Pass. I think a vast amount of the success that Outriders is getting is down to Game Pass.
Right.
And if you look at the trends, again, this is all just part of this evidence, which you can take with a massive, massive, massive pinch of salt. But before Outriders was mentioned as going to Game Pass, it was pretty flat. But as soon as it was going to Game Pass, it just went through the roof. I just think that is why there's a lot of eyeballs on Game Pass, just because what it is doing and how it is driving the gaming industry.
So months ago, probably almost a year ago, I did say, and I was debating with my friend, we did a podcast called The Future of Gaming. And I said, if I had money right now, when the new systems came out, I could spend $500 and get a PlayStation and get one game, right? Sorry, if I had $600 to spend, I get a PlayStation and get one game, right? And a controller, maybe extra controller. But if I had $600 to spend, I could get an Xbox and pay $14.99 and just come out the gate with a bunch of games. So I think that's the thing, because right now, let's be honest, how often are AAA games coming out, right? So to fill in the spaces and the gaps when it's not AAA games, man, if you have a Game Pass or a subscription, doesn't even have to be Game Pass, it could be Xbox Pro, Stadia Pro or whatever, but or Luna or whatever, but that's to fill in the gaps while you're waiting for these AAA games to come. Unfortunately, you won't be playing them on Luna. Oh. Anyway,
but you played most of the games on Luna, which are on most of the AAA games on Luna, which are on Stadia. But don't mention that part. But don't mention that.
Hold on. I don't think that's the case, because Luna doesn't have Marvel Avengers. Luna doesn't have Doom. Luna doesn't have Outriders. Luna doesn't have Cyberpunk. I mean, what do they have?
Luna has Assassin's Creed. They're going to have Far Cry 6.
Ubisoft.
And the thing is, Stadia's not going to have.
That's not the same.
I'm just playing there. And Stadia won't have Doom anymore. We'll say bye to Doom and Stadia.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Now, when they come out, so here's the thing: if they come out and say, if Xbox say, because I heard them say a couple things, but they didn't See, Xbox is smart. They're not spelling it out. They want you to think like, oh, is Doom coming? Is Doom not coming? Is this coming? Not coming? So they didn't say it. So, but listen, let me ask you this: would you, right, if you were owned the company, right, would you put that stab, right? Ooh, you could only get Doom on our service in Game Pass. Or would you allow your competition to still have it so you can make money off of them also? What would you do? I mean, both 100%.
100% exclusive all day long. It is a business. You're not here to make friends. You're here to make money.
No, but I was thinking, what I was saying was, right? If you could buy it on my system and other systems, then you're going to make more money.
But no, I would be a full exclusive because you get the people into the, because if we've got a load of people who like Doom, and if they only can play it on xCloud, Switch. Oh, did I? Sorry. Oh, that'll be happening. That's the latest rumor. Game Pass is going on the Switch apparently, with xCloud.
Switch.
Oh yeah, it's that is the big heavy rumor which was going
I
around
didn't hear that one.
Yeah.
Hold up. Game Pass will go on the Switch.
So you play for the xCloud on the Switch. Could you imagine that? Yeah. Again, I think there is just so many long-term bets going on at this moment in time. And here's the thing, say 6 months down the line, the PC version is out of Game Pass, and you've got the choice here. And of buying the game on Stadia or GFN or whatever service, or you just get it on Game Pass. What do you go for? And this is
we're saying that Game Pass works everywhere, correct? Like, okay, you get on Game Pass, because Game Pass, you can have an Xbox Game Pass and then you can still use it on your computer. The only difference is there's not as many games on computer. It might be different games. So yeah, I get it. So let's say you can have Xbox on Game Pass on Xbox, right? You have Game Pass on PC. You have Game Pass on the Switch. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think this is what people are. This is why this is really, really exciting. Again, we always hark back to the SG&E closing, but this is the reasons why a lot of us hark back to SG&E closing, because you're going to have to fork out the money to buy the games. And I'm not sure if anybody's seen the tweet, because I was off Twitter and I don't think it did the rounds. There's actual figures out there now of how much Stadia has been investing in games, and is between what's it, $10 million to $30 million. It is in someone's LinkedIn profile who looks like they're leaving. So I'm just really excited how everything is going, because we're seeing people just doing completely and utterly different things, and the people writing off PlayStation are extremely short-sighted, because I think
who's writing off PlayStation?
There's a load of people out there going, PlayStation's dead, or not dead, but PlayStation is struggling. PlayStation need to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to tell you now, 2 months time, when E3 hits, when they do their E3 show, even though they're not taking part in E3.
I was about to say, wait, hold on, what? Okay, go
ahead. The God of War trailer drops, the Horizon Zero Dawn, and everybody is going to become PlayStation fanboys again.
Well, I think so, but those games, let's be real, those games are what, maybe 2 years away from here, you know?
They're both down for this year.
Whoa. You're saying God of War, the new God of War is supposed to come out in 2021?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, and that's
that's big.
Yeah, that is absolutely big news. I think people have just completely and utterly forgot about that. It's just real fun out there in gaming land, because I think we are going to be absolutely sport for choice.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these games are going to slip into next year, but in the next 6 months to a year, we're just going to be swimming in absolute cracking games.
Let me ask you this. How much are you into the cloud that you like? Okay, so if PlayStation come out with God of War, right? Would you, and let's say you only was a cloud gamer, would you, if a PlayStation, if a new God of War is coming out, would you rush out and get a PlayStation 5 if you didn't have one already?
Yes. Cool. That is what you call a system seller.
Now let me ask you this. Okay. Now here's what they could mess up for me. Okay. I'm gonna tell you what they need to do, Duncan. I still own 2 PlayStation 4s, 1 PlayStation 4 Pro or Plus, whatever the name is, and 1 PlayStation, right? Okay. If they come out with God of War, and you could get that same God of War on a PlayStation, because last God of War looked amazing. If they come out with the God of War and I could still get it on PlayStation 4, then I'm just going to be like, I don't need to rush out and get it. Unless it got like stuff that don't visually, okay, I get it. It's going to look better. But if it don't have like something extra. If they only say, but it got ray tracing on PlayStation 5. Sorry, man, but I'm going to game fly it, which means renting it in the US. I'm going to game fly it and just play it on my PlayStation 4. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to just chuck back Spider-Man Miles Morales at you.
Okay.
The sales, if you follow some of the sales guys on Twitter, people are waiting to pay Spider-Man Miles Morales on PlayStation 5, and I think we will see something probably similar. I think there'll be more people actually buying the God of War. But there will be people waiting to play it on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, well, let's be clear. PlayStation 5 sold so many consoles, right? You only got like 4 games to play. Sorry if you're a PlayStation 5 fan. So who got a PlayStation 5 and didn't buy Miles Morales? Let's say that. So yeah, statistics, but that's because first of all, let me not say that's because that game was awesome, right? The first Spider-Man. But I didn't even play it, so it's not in my wheelhouse. But the game was awesome. So you get a PlayStation 5 and it's on that, and you only got like 4 games to play. So it makes sense for you to get that because it's a small, amount of game. Also, let me say something real quick, guys. We might not be reading every comment, but I'm at least pulling them up on the screen. But if you definitely got a comment and I don't want to use the term word. I heard somebody say it before. If your comment is worth responding to, I don't want to say that. But if it's on par, it's on topic, definitely. But if you guys are just saying hi to each other in the chat, it's gonna come up on screen. But we'll just keep it moving. But that PlayStation 5 comment was really good because you took the words right out of Duncan's mouth before he said it.
I didn't even see that comment, but Dwayne's a real class act out there, and yeah, people are waiting to play some of these games until they get the PlayStation 5. I think God of War. We know Horizon is cross-platform or not cross-generational.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be the new Horizon is going to be on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. They've been very coy regarding God of War. I'm leaning more to it's going to be cross-generational now because of the supply issues. But I think they're going to really ham it up about all the big differences between them, just to get people to get it on the PlayStation 5. So
far, all of the upgraded games, right? Like Marvel Avengers, and now it's on PlayStation 5, and you get so far it's only been graphically. I mean, to be honest, what extra are they going to let you do on a PlayStation 5? Because the controller isn't really that different than the old controller, besides you could feel on different sides of the controller, right? So to be honest with you, a person like me, now I'm not saying, listen, guys, nowhere am I saying this means the PlayStation isn't selling. This doesn't mean people aren't going to buy the games. What I'm saying is there have certain people like me who I was a PlayStation guy. I got 2 PlayStations, right? So my last recent console was a PlayStation. So I recently was a PlayStation guy. But being that because my first question was starting off with if you was a cloud guy, being that I'm a cloud guy now, they have to do something special to make me buy a PlayStation 5 because I still own a PlayStation 4. You know what I'm saying, Duncan? So if and that is why they get their system sellers going, and they've got a number coming out. They've got one coming out in a couple of weeks in Ratchet and Clank. We've also got Gran Turismo coming out as well. Again, they may not be your cup of tea, but Gran Turismo, people will buy that in droves. Oh yeah, that was a staple of PlayStation. Yeah, that sold systems. Yeah. And Ratchet and Clank, hold up real quick. So when people say, oh, what do you think about next gen? I said, personally, the only next gen thing I seen, period, was the PlayStation controller because it could do some things that regular controllers can't, and Ratchet and Clank. Every game I seen just looked better, but Ratchet and Clank shows that you could be on one planet and then boom, come to another planet, and they, with no loading, you snap your fingers. Now that's next gen to me because look at Destiny, right? If you was on one planet, you go to next, you got a loading screen and you flying in a ship. So to be able to have developers make, an area that you go from one to the other, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then let me answer real quick. Mr. Urban World said, what I'm going to do if GameFly shut down. I'm one of these people where I don't worry about too much. If GameFly shut down, then I guess I would just have to buy the game or find another way to rent it. So, but I'm in the lucky position that I've got both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. You got Series X or Series S?
X.
All right, that my man. All right.
And when you jump between them, there is so many of these small quality of life changes which are brilliant, and there's stuff which is better than what's in the cloud. If you're going to be absolutely fair, on the Series X, the way you can just jump between games, minimal loading. So if I'm playing Assassin's Creed on the Xbox, I want to go and play some football, some PES. I jump into PES and it picks up where I left off. I then say I want to go back to Assassin's Creed. I jump no loading back straight into where I left off.
Quick resume. Now, isn't that only on Xbox, not on PlayStation 5, right?
That's on Xbox, but when you go onto the PlayStation, if you haven't tried the controller, it is Marmite. You either love it or you hate it.
Okay.
And if you love it, it is really hard to play games without that special rumble on it. And I really, really love the controller with that, because some of the stuff they do with it is just absolutely outstanding.
So, answer this question: which controller do you prefer, Duncan? PlayStation
5. If the games support it, the PlayStation 5. If the games don't support it, the Xbox. So that's it. And just even the jump in, there we go again. The 60 FPS.
I'm actually about that. What's your
60 FPS, it is hard to go back, and it is. I think it will become the standard going forward. Now, I think there's just been such a kick up off it, and we've even seen with PlayStation themselves, they went back and even put in 60 FPS mode with ray tracing, even if they have to turn down everything in Spider-Man and things like that. 60 FPS, I think, is going to be an option going forward, and it is needed. If you're talking about just cloud platforms, 60 FPS needs to be the absolute minimum there.
Well, you were talking about speed. If not, we're not going to talk about a quick resume, because obviously that's groundbreaking, right? When you go in and out of a PlayStation game versus in and out of a game on Stadia, what's the comparison?
I think it's much of a muchness. There's going to be people going to say that, you're 2 seconds quicker in Stadia, or you're 2 seconds quicker in PlayStation or Xbox. It's all much of a muchness now.
Yeah, because when I play my PlayStation 4, man, you know how that goes. You get out of a game, it's taking forever to get out of the game, forever to get in the game. But on Stadia, things are just like, okay, I'm in the game, I'm out the game. But quick resume got to be pretty amazing.
Quick resume, I think a lot of people were downplaying that at the beginning, but now it is just absolutely, it's hard to go back when you're going between different things, because you just go jump. And another big positive thing about the Xbox as well, if we're going to tackle this elephant in the room, is the way they're doing smart delivery, where if you get a game, it automatically goes to the best version, while PlayStation, it's all just total and utter mess.
That's great. Now, do you think, so for PlayStation to compete, okay, here's what's weird. PlayStation sold way more units, right? But me personally, when I hear and listen to what's going on, Xbox, like I said this thing before, there's a puppet and there's a puppet master. I feel like PlayStation is the puppet, Xbox is the puppet master. Like, yes, you look great because you sold more, but I feel like we have the better value, and everybody's talking about Xbox now. But PlayStation sold so much, so I don't think Game Pass is that great that I'm gonna have a PlayStation and then buy an Xbox. Like, I don't think you're gonna sell me that way, right? So, but still, I feel like Xbox have so many benefits right now. So, do you see PlayStation adding quick resume, PlayStation doing what you were just saying, where you upping the games, or are they just going to keep on the straight and narrow?
Here is the issue. PlayStation has the games. They have the exclusives which draw people in. We've talked about God of War, we've talked about Horizon, we've talked about Gran Turismo. Xbox still needs some of these games, even though I love a load of these Xbox exclusive games. They just need to show more first-party games to draw people in, and that's why it always comes back to content, and content is king. What they're doing with the moves with Game Pass and putting these games in day one is the first step. The second step is just showing off the first party, and showing us the new Halo Infinite with all the bells, whistles, make people want that game. Show us off Total Dark. Show us the next State of Decay, all jazzed up. They need to start showing people why they should go into Xbox for their exclusive games.
So here's my thing. So to tie into what you said and what Mr. Urbanroll said, he said they don't make much on the systems, right? What I think is that since PlayStation sold more and Xbox didn't, right? Then Xbox been starting to put some first party games on there and starting to put some day one games, right, on Game Pass. Whatever, if you're not making that much on the systems, because I always said the day Xbox start releasing new games on Game Pass, then they're gonna be they're gonna be their own console competition. But guess what? If they don't care about console sales that much, then dude, start bundling Game Pass, do game xCloud, you know, and that's going to be such a big a benefit, especially when xCloud get better.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody has actually tried out the Xbox 1080 stream, which the people put up before it was taken down, or sorry, when it was good, before too many people found out about it and then crashed the whole system. That's what actually happened. There was just too many people sort of logging onto the backdoor way of getting the 1080. It is apparently extremely good. It is playable. Its 1080 stream is comparable to what is out there.
And that's on the PC, right?
That's on the PC, and then it'll go on the iOS. And I'm assuming there's going to be maybe apps shortly, which will go onto your TV as well. And that is when things get real serious for everybody in the cloud gaming space.
Yeah, I mean, I think Xbox is doing a great thing. I love where they're going. Eventually, I mean, you're only going to get better and better. So eventually, I feel like your competition is going to catch up. But if you're that's if you're standing still. Stadia is looking good as far as tech, jumping from here to there, and I could go to your house and say, "Hey, can I borrow your phone and a PlayStation controller and play my game?" So all that stuff is cool, and they're smooth and blah blah blah. But yeah, everybody else is trying to get there, and I'm just curious. When they get there, will Google have thought of something new that they have to catch up? So that's the question, because I don't know what else is there to do. You know,
what's more important, the games or the tech? What's harder to catch up to, games or tech? So if say 6 months down the line, Xbox is 1080, 60 FPS for most things, to put in the server, or I think this is going to be delayed because of the COVID stuff. The Series X blades, and they've got, what is it, about 200 games or something now sorry, 100, 150 games. We'll just lowball it on cloud versus Stadia for $10, $15 a month, including all these day and date games. So you're going to be a Stadia consumer here, and there you go. You can buy Outriders on Stadia for $60, or you can jump on xCloud now for $15 and have all these other games as well. I think that this is the issue not only Stadia is going to be facing, but PlayStation is going to be facing as well. It is just the complete and utter value proposition here. It isn't that just one game, it is all the games you're going to be competing with. And I'm expecting Amazon to do something similar, because they've actually, in their blog posts, they are hinting at that as well, where they're working with partners to publish games, and I think you can bet your bottom dollar that any of these games they publish are going day one on the Luna as well.
I think that is a great idea, but again, I'm always going to give Stadia the little nudge across the finish line if I'm able to buy my game. Like, yes, if the same game was on Game Pass, obviously that's a better value. But then if next month another game come out and I can't even get it on, at Game Pass or xCloud or Luna, then where's the value, right? Now, if you're in the ecosystem and you got that system, then you go buy it on that system. But again, for me, and maybe you, if you're getting into becoming a cloud enthusiast, then you kind of want it to be on the cloud. And if it's not, then where's your, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely, that's the thing that's saving Stadia for me. Whenever somebody want to debate Stadia, for me, I'm like, well, listen, I'm going to be able to buy that game. And then if you don't have that game, then, and I can't get it, then that messes everything up. The good thing is that's our argument, but the reality of is how many games do somebody buy a year, right? Like you don't buy every game, like do you? Like come on now. So
yeah, these people who buy every single game on Stadia or anything like that, I think, are just complete mad people. You don't have time to play all them games. It is just absolute madness. And buying game, we had that discussion 2 weeks ago about buying games to support the platform.
Yeah,
but
do you want to tackle this? What is your feel? What I never asked you. What's your feelings on Nintendo? Chariot Man Gaming, good shout.
We touched on that earlier. I think there is a big partnership. There's the rumors out there between.
What I want to ask you real quick is like you. Like I know you said you got a Series X and you got a.
I've got a.
But what's up with Nintendo for you?
I have a Switch as well. Probably a Switch Pro later in the year. I am a gamer in and out. My preferred way to play is in the cloud, but I am not boxed into one platform because I don't think you can be boxed into one platform. You can never write off Nintendo. Even in the Wii U, you could not write off Nintendo because some of them games in the Wii U were even better than games which were on PlayStation or Xbox. They beat to their own drum. And
I give them credit for that, man.
They never.
Here's the only. So everybody got like something people complain about. And you know what? Here's the thing: because cloud came out, cloud makes now consoles can't do this, right? Because before, right now, where we stand, I'd have been like, well, PlayStation got the exclusives, but Xbox got Game Pass. So one or the other, I'll be leaning more to Game Pass. But now with the cloud, it's like, well, you got a cloud service, which is not like this cloud service. So for me, Nintendo has always been their own thing. But then my rival to Nintendo is where's their Call of Duty? Where's that Outriders? So they don't get the first party. They don't get the other AAA games that other people get.
And that is why this talk between Nintendo and Microsoft is so interesting to me. And I think we have to wait for a couple of months for that to come to fruition. It is just mad. And then 2 other people, I'm going to mention this, and I think you're going to laugh when I mention this.
Let's do it.
We have to be, when I'm talking Google here now, I am talking the Google App Store.
Okay.
And they, along with Apple, because I think Google runs their things in different silos. Right. The Google App Store is going to be worth watching because I think there's going to be a big fight along there alongside Apple Arcade as well, because I think that is a very big battle which is going to go on. And Apple are slowly but surely putting absolutely amazing games onto Apple Arcade. And if you want to know how good these games are going on the Apple Arcade, right, I will point you to a blog post by Xbox. They are announcing an Apple Arcade game is going to Xbox this in the coming weeks. Some of these arcade games on their platform are absolutely amazing, and they would look out from place on the Switch or Stadia or GeForce Now or any platform at all.
Like, these games, when I think of Apple Arcade, right? I think of a phone game. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I think of a like, well,
what would if you don't follow it, Apple Arcade sort of stuff, you wouldn't know this. Well, gotcha. If I told you a Platinum game is on Apple Arcade now as an exclusive, would that get you a big proper?
I have to see it. I have to see a trailer, you know.
And a game made by Miss Walker, who is the Final Fantasy people. They have put a complete old school Final Fantasy game on Apple Arcade. So Apple are starting to drop some serious, I'm not going to say serious money, but they're starting to get a bit more invested in that. There's just so many battles going on in the gaming front. It's hard to keep up.
It's crazy.
I would look up, it's called World of Demons, and the other game is called Fantasian. And you're going to go, now they're not mobile games, but they are mobile games.
Wow. Well, I did play, so I downloaded on my phone. The game started with a G, Gunji or something. Dude, it's you. If somebody walked in and was like, and see me playing, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, you got Stadia. That's the Stadia game. Like, no, this is a mobile game. Yeah, so I definitely seen recently man, there's some good looking mobile games. So I will say that, yeah.
All right, are you want to get stuck into the meaty topics now, don't you? This is
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
nice
I
play
was gonna
stuff.
say, you see me trying to, yeah. So guys, I know some of you guys have come here for some of the meaty stuff, but listen, we're talking about games. The cool thing is Duncan and I, when we decided to get together, we said nothing's off the table. All right. Now we know a lot of you guys know us from gaming, but we could talk about other stuff as well. So just letting you know. But now, oh man, where do we start? Well, you did say you want to talk about the detective game. So you want to throw that in there? Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the game I'm talking about.
Yeah, Genshin Impact. Yeah.
Oh my
that
God, man.
Here's the scary thing about this. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that has made $1 billion. Yes,
Probably did. Yeah, that game.
I think that's the game which made $1 billion. That's $1 billion with a B.
Well, I downloaded it. And
Patrick, that's not right. I'm over in the UK, and I'm telling you now, I'm on Apple Arcade. It is.
Okay.
It is pretty worldwide.
Yeah, why don't you wanted to mention what was it called? Dark
Side Detective.
Yeah.
Yes, the dirty little secret in the Stadia community, which a lot of people do not want to really talk about because it doesn't paint Stadia in a good light. A number of months ago, Stadia announced this game was coming day one to Stadia via Stadia Pro. Mm-hmm. Stadia Pro, that is, as in you wouldn't have to pay for it if you've got Stadia Pro. And it is absolutely did not happen that way. You have to go and buy the game, and no one seems to care about this, which I find absolutely shocking.
Let me jump in there real quick, because what I've heard, so you could correct me if I'm wrong. I thought one of the developers said on Discord it's going to be on Pro, and they had to retract that statement. Is that true?
Yep, there is just Adam.
But isn't that different than Stadia coming out saying?
No. Stadia did come out and say this.
Okay. That's why I want to clarify.
100%. It is in a blog post.
Okay.
Stadia has came out and said Dark Side Detective is going to Stadia Pro. When it comes out, and a lot of people didn't seem to care, and I think that is absolutely wild. Because
let me ask you this: why is it okay? Here's why I don't care, because I probably wouldn't buy that game. It looks like a little Nintendo game, but why? So paint me the picture, because come on, let's get juicy, man. Why is that a big deal for Stadia? Let's hear it.
Okay. If this was Xbox have announced this game is coming day one to Game Pass. And then they turned around and went, no, this is no longer coming to Game Pass. You have to pay for it. What would people be doing? They would be screaming high murder, because they have broke their promise, and it breaks the trust. Yeah. I think they have completely I think this is absolutely disgusting, some of the stuff which has been going on, and asking people to take down tweets. And with this point here, I've seen that point. I can understand why people are saying that point. Okay. However, Rock of Ages 3, completely similar sort of thing. They announced that was going to Pro, and it came out in the middle of the month. This is just an excuse where people, the developer wants to use to try and save some blushes. I just do not think it washes. And if this was any other platform, I'm going to tell you, if this was on Luna or GeForce Now this happened to, you knew what the Stadia community would be going, you can't.
So
I just think it's, and again, it was not the censorship is probably too wrong for word, asking people to take down tweets as well, pointing out this problem, and it's just I don't think that is right. Adam was asked to take down a tweet in regards to this as well. I think this is just absolutely disgraceful behavior, and they're trying to build up trust and everything like that, and they are breaking promises, and it is a promise that they have broke. And if you don't think a game can come into pro after it, not halfway through a month, it has happened many times before on Stadia.
I honestly, I think it's a juicy topic, but I feel like it's not that big of a topic because it's the game. All right. And I don't want to downplay it, but I think it would have been a bigger topic if it was like Pixel Junk Raiders. If Pixel Junk Raiders, right? People was salivating for that game, right? Oh man, we want this game. I don't know anybody that was like, man, I'm waiting for Dark Side Detective, or not many. So I think, and listen, maybe the Stadia community is downplaying it again because we're the community, so we don't want to look bad. But two, I really do on this one, Duncan. I think it might have something to do with the game, because if you say to me, guess what, that was supposed to be pro, I'm like, and now if you say, guess what, Pixel Junk Raiders, a lot. Listen, everybody was streaming that game. You couldn't find nobody that wasn't streaming that game when it came out. I personally couldn't do it because they didn't add invert to later. But yeah, so that's what I think. That's I would say. But you're right, because if another platform did it, man, we're gonna have the pitchforks and the fire, and we want to burn the ground down.
Yeah, and that is what I just find truly funny out there. There has been no one is out there calling it out. No, it's Stadia. We'll just let it pass. Stadia can do no wrong. It's the developer's fault. They missed their window. But no, it's Stadia can never do anything wrong, which is just really funny.
I don't think that's what do you mean Stadia can't do nothing wrong? We got a civil war where we're gonna get to in the Stadia community right now, because Stadia closed their entertainment. Stadia closed their studios. What do you mean Stadia can't do nothing wrong? Like, come on, we're getting on the level of toxic like the PlayStation and Xbox. We've been around for a year and a half.
Yeah, level of toxic. I talked about this last night. There's two types of toxic. There's the negative toxicity, which apparently I'm part of, I think, because I just call things out, just like what's happened there tonight. And we've also got the positive toxicity, which people do want to talk about.
Well, hold on. Can we hold that real quick? Because we're getting there. We're going there, but let's not get into that yet. Let me ask you a question, because Mr. Urbanworld brought it up. I'm not gonna bring up his thing, but I want to ask you, what is your thoughts on VR real quick? He's mad at me because I said I feel like VR is a gimmick. I feel like VR remind me of when 3D came out. I had a 3D phone. I bought a 3D TV. My 3D TV, my glasses, I bought 5 glasses and they was $150 each. I had a 3D phone. Like, my very first video on YouTube, a couple of videos on YouTube was 3D. So if you look at them now, it's like 2 screens. You're like, why is that? Because they was 3D. That's how much I was into 3D, but 3D ended up being a gimmick. It ended up going out. Now, I just feel like VR isn't the thing yet. So can you just tell me what's your thought on VR? I'm just curious.
There's more Oculus Quest players than there is Stadia players. I would put that out there. So
that makes sense.
I think that is easy enough. I have 2 Oculus Quests. I've got the original Oculus Quest and the Oculus Quest 2. Like I said, I'm a gamer. That's where I spend my money. I don't drink. I don't smoke. That's where my money goes. Yep. VR, if VR is still winning its killer app. A lot of people are going to talk about Half-Life Alyx, and Half-Life Alyx, it brought a lot of people in, but I think what really needs to bring VR into the forefront is a killer app on the Oculus Quest. I think we're still waiting there, and I think the people who are probably going to usher this in, and people are going to laugh, is maybe Apple when they launch their VR headset in the coming years. And it is just, when you play games in VR, it is just absolutely brilliant. There is nothing like it. It really involves you, but we're still waiting for a big proper experience of a game, which can played by the masses. So I think that is what we're missing. It's Oculus Quest game played by everybody, and then we're onto something. But I think we're still missing on it. But I think it's really interesting what games which may be coming soon. With the Assassin's Creed game, I hope it is a full, proper Assassin's Creed game on the Quest.
That's my problem with VR. I feel like what you just said, right? You hope it's a full proper. Like I played the Iron Man game on PlayStation VR for 2 hours. I went to my buddy's house, played it for 2 hours straight. Amazing. Fly in, everything. But do I want to play that every day like I would want to play other games? No. Like VR give you a specific feeling, but it's not a feeling that I want all the time. Plus, on Stadia Source, we had the guy from Sky Climbers, the director. He said that game was originally going to be a VR game, but he said we don't make as much money, and VR just doesn't do that much money for video games. He said we wasn't going to make that much money, and we decided to shift gears and make it a regular game because the lack of support with VR, and VR just doesn't make as much money. So say what you want about VR, but I mean, I was a developer saying literally his game was supposed to be VR, but they just couldn't see the profit, making the profits in VR. But I feel like the VR experience, like, can I play a game like Marvel Avengers where I'm punching, I grab somebody and slam them? And video games just have regular video games just have a certain feel to it. And maybe because we've been doing it all our lives, but VR just doesn't have that kick for me. It's more of I'll play this weekend for 2 hours and I'm done.
Yeah, but the thing is, there is a couple of games like that where you can go like that, grab people and stuff. Like there's that Walking Dead game. Yeah, zombies who come out and you can hold them and then stab them and all this sort of carry on. VR, I think, it's like the Liverpool thing, or it's next year is going to be the year. It's a bit like cloud gaming. It's next year. Right. It keeps on getting pushed back.
Yeah, but what is VR gonna do that's gonna be so different though, right? It's so many different VR games, but like, what commercial or what, like for instance, right? You said, oh, it's more VR users than Stadia. All right, but look at this. The cloud, right? People could call it a gimmick. I don't think it's a gimmick, right? Everything's going to cloud. Look at this. Every major video games platform has a cloud-based form, but not every major video game system has a VR. PlayStation don't even, well, how come Microsoft doing everything? Where's the Microsoft VR if VR is that important or popular?
Yeah, and just remember, who owns Oculus?
Facebook.
What does Facebook have?
I have no clue. Facebook.
They've got their own cloud gaming service as well, which people are forgetting.
Yeah, they got like little phone games. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but
crushing the VR.
Yeah, just bigger picture. I think we're going to see. You're getting me now. So yeah, I don't think they're pushing it. I think they're just trying to gently roll it out.
Right.
They're just pushing it out slowly, and I think that's probably. I know a lot of people are not watching Facebook, but I think it is well worth watching them as well because they're testing that with just their cloud mobile apps, but I think that is going to maybe push into the VR space. And I think when that sort of happens, when you start doing your experimentation in that, it is going to be brilliant. Because I'm not sure if you know, they've actually blocked streaming apps, cloud streaming apps on on Oculus. So that just gets my interest up on it even more.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to bring that up because Mr. Urban mentioned it. Also, this right here, it wasn't Outcasters a mid-month release. I don't even remember. Let me see.
And I can say that I'm not the only one complaining about it. You may have muted everybody else.
All right, let's see. Just want to get through. I want to get caught up. Let's Stadia 100 come out with excuses. I'm trying to understand that, Andy, but we're gonna get it. Andy, listen, we're gonna get into it. All right. Let's see. Bruce Campbell, when you think the VR becomes unbelievable? I mean, I would like to see the VR just do something that gets me. We got Project Storm in the house. What's going on? Andy Morford's in the house. Let's see. You guys are saying what's up? Yeah, about the Half-Life. Duncan did mention it. I'm a little behind, guys. Sorry, because I was waiting to have Clyde's comment come up. I knew it was off topic for this topic, but the old topic. All right, let's see. Switch masterpiece. Let me see. Flying. Oh, so I can imagine. So that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to play a flying game in VR because that would be pretty epic.
Yeah, the thing also, I think it's worth mentioning this because I say the pros and the cons and everything.
Yes,
VR, it is absolutely amazing, and if you get the right game, you can go. I only want to play VR from now on, but then you see that the games aren't. There's a lack of depth in a lot of the games.
yeah.
But you need to get VR legs, as they are called. You have to build up your time in VR. You can't just jump in and go for like a VR session. You need to build up 10, 15 minutes, half an hour to an hour, because when you come out, you may feel a bit sick because it does take a wee bit of time to get used to.
I feel like VR reminds me of just going to the arcade. Remember when it came out, you go to the arcade and you could get into the VR things. I feel like they kind of just brought that home to your living room. They say, here's what Anthony don't understand. VR is new generation of computers. It's not going anywhere. Listen, it's not going anymore. It's gaming, but more than that. And it's you know what? Listen, everything's getting better, right? 2 years ago, I didn't think that I was going to be playing in the cloud. I'm not going to knock it, but what's going on, Dre? Let's see. All right, we're about to get into some stuff. Let's see. Duncan knows mobile gaming is massive. Listen, mobile gaming, like phone games, is the biggest part of video game sales. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people would tell you the consoles got video games on lock, but no, video game sales are the highest on mobile. So I'm sure Duncan knows that, and I know that. But all right,
Duncan. So just to go back to this is why I think we're going to see some moves by Google, as in the Google Play Store, and Apple going forward, just to combat what is going to be going down with the cloud, because you would think Google will hopefully amalgamate Stadia, maybe some of the games into the Play Store, because that could get a lot of traction for them when they get the servers out around the world, if they're going to do that. But again, this is why it's definitely worth watching the mobile market and how they're going to react about these big AAA games going onto that, and you can play them on your phone. And especially with xCloud with their touch controls, which is just nuts.
What, xCloud's touch controls?
Yes, they've got 50 games now which have got specially developed touch controls. So depending on what game you play, the controls are different on the screen. They're developed specifically for each of the games. So that is why you have to just watch all the different spaces just to see what's going on.
Right. Yeah. You have to be a hashtag multi-gamer. There's a new hashtag going out. Hashtag I don't know what it is, but all right, man. Just want to say what's up to Lord Gaming Man, RJ, Andy Morph, Alex already been in the building. Say what's up to a couple new people. Project Storm just jumped in here, guys. We're about to get into some stuff. And I know there's people running around with pitchforks and torches, and there's I'm team this and I'm team that, and here's what's cool. I am team Stadia. I love Stadia. I got into the cloud space because of Stadia. Actually, I was playing xCloud first, but I got into mainly when Stadia came out. Woo! I'm a founder. You can see me doing some hashtag Stadia 100, and my buddy Duncan here is, man, he's a multiverse guy. He got everything. He plays on everything, so nothing slips Duncan's eye, which is really cool. You know, he knows about so much. So we are going to get into let me see. Man, I guess we just should tackle this now, huh? You guys want us to get into what's recently been going on in the Cloudverse? Is that what we're going to tackle here? Let me see. Another week, another Stadia community meltdown. Hey, listen, tell me about it. Don't worry. What I think though. Okay, you had to grab it. Nice. Let me see the controller. Okay. That's cool.
It is really, really cool.
Nice. What I think, listen, as soon as you just said Team Xbox. All right, Clive, you take us away, man. I just called you Clive. Wow. Duncan, you take us away, man.
I'm offended.
I'm sorry. Yeah, come on. Wait, shave your
Or
head.
or is Clive offended that one of us is
I don't know.
offended?
He might want to have hair, so he might be offended. I mean, you might. Whatever. I'm getting confused here. I guess because this topic is coming up, and I'm slurring my words because I know we're about to go where no show has gone before, because we're going to talk about some stuff that's evidently clear that's going on. Andy kind of mentioned it a little bit. Let's talk about hashtag Stadia 100, hashtag Moti. What is the thing? You know, have you been paying attention? What's the other one called? Somebody
I
was
haven't a clue.
okay.
I haven't.
Somebody was making a hashtag referring to if you like everything, something like that.
I just think it's just splintering people off again. I think I'm going to put this out. Can everybody clip this part before I go on to the second part? I think it is a real good idea. I think the motives are right in this because people want to see Stadia content. However, I think the delivery could have been better. And personally, I think it should have been morphed into what you were doing. I'm not trying to blow smoke up places where it's going, but I think it should have been morphed into the Stadia Bash community network and be part of that and do that hashtag and all that sort of carry. I just see this as just, again, trying to fracture the Stadia community, which was already fractured to begin with. And I seen a tweet here. Again, it's something I haven't thought of before. But I'm going to give the G here because, like I said, I like seeing different opinions out there because it gives me time to think. And it was from, I forget the person's name, and basically saying it's good to see Stadia has a fanboy base. I don't mind that Stadia has a fanboy base. It's just if they tip over, and unfortunately they do tip over a lot, and I think we've seen that during this week as well, and over the last 2 weeks since the Stadia Source thing. And I think
that for people, just in case they don't know.
Stadia Source did what I told them to do last year. They decided to do it 2 weeks ago. And I think Dan would say, yes, I said this as well to him when I was over at Stadia Source. You should maybe branch out into the different cloud networks. And Stadia Source has rebranded into, I'm sorry.
Gaming Source Network.
I'm sorry, this isn't me trying to be a moonbeam about this or anything. I'm just forgetful, and I think a couple of other people get it mixed up as well. Not just me.
Gaming Source now, but
yeah, Gaming Source Network, branching out to different places. This has just, I think, that has been the final straw for a lot of people, and some of the stuff going backwards and forwards has been absolutely nuts. And I think this Stadia 100 thing is coming from a good place. Can we have that clipped again? But I just think it was maybe the wrong time, and possibly I think a bit more thought should have maybe went into it, and I think it should have been under the Stadia Bash community network, because I think what you're doing there is class. You don't have to be 100% Stadia person as long as you're doing your Stadia slot during the show. Right. I think that is absolutely brilliant. I think the messaging which just came out about the Stadia 100 thing has been poor. Again, I'm just saying it, and I don't think it's meant to. Clive has done a great job over this morning and evening over here, trying to clarify things. It's basically what you guys are doing as well. If you're doing a Stadia piece of content and you want to see Stadia piece of content, you click on Stadia 100 and it's there. You don't need to be a Stadia 100% channel, which a lot of the people seem to think you do need to be. And I think we've seen that in some of the comments here today. And I think again, it is a mountain knife from a molehill, all this, but I could see it coming. As soon as I seen that last night, I was going, oh my God.
So, you know what's funny? All right, so let me be honest. Obviously, guys, I'm a part of it, right? I'm a part of Stadia 100. People feel that, hey, Anthony, you're a part of Stadia Bash Community Network, and what you guys are doing is great. I personally said, we're already doing that. We're already doing our own thing. I already started my little quote is 100% Stadia committed, right? It's a little cliche thing. I like to have little branding and stuff, right? But I don't mind being, like I said, hey, If anybody want to know where to get Stadia content, direct them to me and I can tell them about the Stadia Bash Community Network. So that's my part to play. But I actually didn't, it went over my head. I didn't realize that it was going to start this. I didn't realize that, oh, wait, there is people like, well, let me not say people names because, you know, some people are going to get mad at saying names. But there are people that wasn't on the list, right? And when you think about like, oh, wait, their channel is 100%. And so, I mean, I put this on Twitter, so that's cool. But I put on Twitter, you know, StadiaSource.com, right? But I think when MM2K put that out, he was just talking about YouTube, right? So YouTube channels, yes, GSN isn't 100% Stadia. Now, I think what you're saying is cool that, hey, maybe your channel do some other stuff, but we have shows that's directed to Stadia. Now, in that respect, GSN does, because now Stadia, speaking of Stadia, will be on Monday nights. Me personally, I only stream Stadia content. So I get this whole thing, and then we got to know that it kind of started from, oh man, I don't want to make a thing out of a thing, but you know, people leaving and stuff like that. So it's just spiraling out of control. But I do believe it's gonna. I think what you said is good. It meant well, and I think people are gonna realize it meant well. I think right now it's a shock. You know, something come out like, you know, what we got to do, what, or what, the laws change, or I think it's a shock right now. But I think a week from now, maybe we might be all a little cooler heads. You know, everybody got to jump on there and put their post and put their foot, you know, put their mouth out there, right? And I get it. You know, guys, I apologize. I'm an entertainer, man, first. You know, I kind of was stirring the pot a little bit, saying a couple of things. But I mean, here's the thing. I don't think anything I said was incorrect. That's my problem. Maybe I could have not said things, but if you want to take it to the bank, what I say is true. But yeah, maybe some stuff I'm a little blunt. But look, so is the guys right next to me. You know, he's always saying stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a mountain knife from the molehill, but I just think it was the wrong time for all this, with just all the fuss which has just been going on recently. And again, I think it means well, but I just seen problems from it the word go. And this 100 Stadia 100, it's just how it is getting implied that you have to be 100% Stadia, when in fact you don't need to be. I think you just, that piece of content has to be 100% Stadia.
Here's the thing. My channel, right? My own personal channel isn't on the list. My channel isn't 100% Stadia, so my channel isn't on the list. I mean, you know, I'm not crying about it. So I'm in the same case as Stadia Source. Yes, guys, I still counter it. I created the world's first and only Stadia Avengers channel. I have made a channel directed to, if you're a Stadia player and you play Marvel Avengers, I did that. Came with a little intro and everything. Now I create that content on my Now Your MommaKnows channel and just port it over to that channel. But I'm not on the list, so I'm not crying.
Yeah, I just think it's wrong time. The intentions are great in it, just to try and push it, but I just say this isn't going to go down well. I seen that last night, and it seems to have kicked off this morning. Can I just say this? They kicked off this morning before I was on Twitter. That started before I left jail.
This time he has nothing to do with it.
It wasn't me. I actually put out a pretty I thought a pretty fair tweet about it, where I just said I could see where things were. This is all going in the right direction, or you can see the positivity of it. However, I just see where this is going to go, and unfortunately, it's done it again. I think like you said, I think next week we're going to either have a new drama, or it is going to be completely forgotten about. I don't really care about it, but I just see how it could be misinterpreted.
Well, Alex just keep asking what it is. So this is what it is. Stadia 100 is people are doing hashtag Stadia 100. So Alex, you're part of the Stadia Bash Community Network. Stadia Bash Community Network was asked to be a part of Stadia 100, meaning let's say you're a new person and you came into you just got Stadia and you're like, oh, I want to watch Stadia people. I want to get news on Stadia. So Stadia 100 is for people who do 100% Stadia content, or they're committed that they do content. You can always find Stadia content on their channel. So they would, if they do a post, they'll just go hashtag Stadia 100. So meaning it's like a campaign. Hey, I support Stadia 100. Well, what happened was the campaign went out and it left off some people who does. So two things would happen. Some people was mad because they was left out, and then some people was mad because they do Stadia content, but they also do other content. So I see the parallels. Hey, but we got stuff that's Stadia content, but we have stuff that isn't Stadia content. So they didn't make the cut. My channel didn't make the cut. Just gonna say that one more time. But and nor am I mad either. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But
see, I had a wee interaction with Clive on Twitter today, and it was just to point out what the confusion over this. And I think Clive's going to try and get out there and just get it completely and utterly sorted out here. If I every month on Clarity, we put our Stadia Pro predictions. It is just a bit of crack. It's 100% Stadia, what games we think are coming to Stadia. And
okay.
I asked a couple of people, would this be counted as a Stadia 100 hashtag? Clive came back to me and said, yes, absolutely, that would be counted. You can pop the hashtag onto it, no problem at all. But then we got people from the Stadia community as a whole said, no, you're not allowed to do that because you're not a Stadia focused channel, you're a cloud focused channel. No, you're not allowed to do it. And this is where the crossover and stuff was going. Again, I was just doing that to point out this is where the sort of confusion is actually coming from.
Now let's be fair though. I get it, right? You put something out there in the universe, people are gonna see it and run with it, good or bad. This thing is new, man. Did we not just say it just came out today? Some people was left off. Here's the thing with Twitter. You put something out on Twitter, instead of somebody say like, oh guys, could I be a part of that? Or people got offended, right? And I get it. So it's just hard. It's a rollout. But Project Storm said this is about pointing people in the variety of people pointing people to a variety of Stadia specific content without all of the confusion and doomsday talk that has been ruining the experiences of current and would be Stadia gamers. So what he's pretty much saying is, and Clive, listen, darn it, if I call you Clive one more time, Duncan, you, okay, have been very instrumental, and people have got on you about saying Stadia is dying. So if a person just got into Stadia and they went to your channel and see you say Stadia is dying, they're like, damn, I just got this Stadia thing. I just bought a.
I have not mentioned Stadia is dying for a while now. I'm not. I know you're just using me there, but if you go on watch some of the stuff when I'm actually talking about Stadia, last couple of weeks I have been saying Stadia has been knocking it out from the park, and they have been doing really well. I try and be balanced. People may not like that, and I try to say where I am coming from. One of my issues is I can see things from both sides, and whatever side wins out usually, but I can normally see things from all the different angles. Well, and I hope that's what people can see. And I'm trying to get more positive stuff out there about Stadia as well. And I think we have been doing that as well.
So I agree with you. I think I give you credit. Listen, I wanted to work with you, right? And but I also started off by I wanted to have a discussion with you because I didn't agree with some of the stuff you said. You said it where it is. It's your opinions. It is what it is. I'm kind of similar to you, and some people might look at me. Well, hold up. This guy is doing hashtag Stadia 100. This guy is on GSN. This guy just came on Chase's video today saying he's doing a wrestling podcast with him. So this guy has helped create the Stadia Bash Community Network. So I'm all over the place, but I think we should be at a game where we want. But I do see there shouldn't be anything wrong if people just want only Stadia specific content. And Clive said that's not quite right, Anthony. It's not about channels. It's about specific content. Well, yeah. So yeah, again, my channel, right? my channel, so you can get Stadia Avengers on my channel, although I do it randomly. I don't have a specific time where I do it. And that's, I guess, the clarification that Clive makes is good. But then that goes into, then pretty much, listen, so many people could do hashtag Stadia 100, but when they do that specific content, right? So if I'm doing my Stadia Source stream, sorry, Stadia gaming,
whatever
source
it's called, gaming source network.
It's a new Xbox, man. If I'm doing my gaming source network stream, and I do it every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, then I should be able, what Clive is saying, to put hashtag Stadia 100. Clive, just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that is right. If you're doing a Stadia specific piece of content, and I'll say this as well, it has to be at least balanced, if not more towards positive. I think that would be fair. It'd be more highlighting Stadia or talking about positives. You can maybe do some negatives, but it's going to be a more Stadia focused sort of positive sort of thing. I think you can chuck on that Stadia 100 banner. So
you know what? I think just like everything, there isn't always a smooth rollout. Like, look at people want Stadia to come out and say, we are 100% Stadia committed. Don't worry, we're not going nowhere. But they kind of rolled out what they rolled out. Hey, we're closing, SG, we're closing the studios, blah, blah, blah. And, it could have been smoother. I think the Stadia 100 is a good thing. Obviously, I'm a part of it. And I've been doing the Stadia Bash Community Network, right? And we're that channel, you will only find Stadia content. Of course, we have people that do certain shows and we bring up other stuff. But I think in time, people are going to see like, oh, wait, Stadia 100 isn't threatening. It isn't saying don't go to these other people, but it is saying, hey, if you do want, because I said this real quick, Duncan, people are like, well, what's the problem? I said, would you tell an Xbox guy to sit through a PlayStation video to hear Xbox content? You'll never do that. Like, because they're already established, but you're willing to say, hey, I said this to Ace, you're willing to say, hey, what's wrong with sitting through a Luna info to get to your Stadia info? Well, what if I just want my direct Stadia info? Well, then Stadia 100 isn't a problem then, right?
Yeah, I have no problem with, like I said, I just think it was wrong timing. The intention's good. And guys, if you want feedback on it, change your name. There's just so many jokes about Stadia 100. I know what the intention was, but I've already heard about 100 sort of Stadia 100 jokes. Like that's Stadia's, it's called Stadia 100 because there's only 100 players on Stadia. It's Stadia 100 because there's only 100 Stadia players in FIFA and all this sort of carry on. I think
think about that. That's pretty good though. That's some good jokes.
Yeah. We're just. I think if you're doing the Stadia content and you're using the Stadia 100 hashtag, I think you're going to have to get used to them sort of jokes.
Damn, so, Joe, those some good banners. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, and all that. Again, I think the intent is good. I just think optics and timings and all that sort of stuff.
Well, here's timing is key. So we have this big thing where we have a post for that. This is public knowledge, right? So we have a post where a fellow community member decides to leave, right? That ruffled feathers. So hey, so I can't leave now, but that ruffled feathers, right? So then we get the Stadia 100. If you back up months ago, we get the Stadia is gonna die. Like, man, it is a lot of doom and gloom, and it's crazy. But Andy Moore said he's only joking. But I see it as a good thing. Obviously, I'm a part of it. We're trying to do something, but I'm not going to say I don't see why certain people are upset with it.
Yeah, it's all fun and games. It's just brilliant. I just think it was. Yeah, I just see Clive's point there about the timing was perfect to get. Yeah, it definitely was. It's got people talking anyway. But it's all good fun. I think we all know who we're talking about stepping away, and I think it is an absolute crying shame that the community is in that such of a state that they have had to walk away. I can tell you this: the Stadia community has probably a higher percentage of fanatics. I'm saying percentage, not the number, at this moment in time compared to the other platforms. But this is just showing that Stadia is developing and maturing as a platform. And I think there is a lot of the fanatics out there who think Stadia can do no wrong, and Stadia is perfect in every way, and they don't like things getting called out, maybe fairly, maybe unfairly. And I think there is a awful toxicity problem out there, toxicity negative, and there's a positive toxicity problem, which I don't think people really want to talk about, where they overly
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say I wanted you to get to that because you were starting to talk about it earlier. But real quick, Patrick said, can you use hashtag Stadia 100 if your video talks about Xbox, PS, and Stadia? So here's my thing. So this is what we got. I've been telling the guys in Stadia Bash Community Network. They're like, hey, we want to do a retro video. I said, listen, a retro isn't Stadia, right? So that's not going to fly. Now, if you could tie in Stadia and say like, oh man, we love Stadia, but here's some games that make me think about where, what started it all, and then you do some retro content, and then you bring it back into Stadia. Now you have a Stadia show you just perform, you put on, but you talk about some other stuff, right? Like Duncan and I could talk about, Stadia, and then we mentioned some other stuff, but it's Stadia specific content, right? So yes, you could, but if you have a show that's just talking about Xbox and PlayStation, and you're like, oh yeah, a new game came out on Stadia, then I don't think that would be classified as Stadia 100. And Andy, I agree. Andy, here's my problem, Andy. I think I have too much fun because none of this bothers me personally. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I stirred the pot a little bit, but guys, it's entertainment. It's video games supposed to be fun. All right. Now I get it. We're making stakes, putting our stakes in the sand. Are you on this side? Are you on that side? But at the end of the day, let's just play video games. But I'm gonna play primarily my Stadia. Just saying. But I still own other devices. But yeah, if you want to explain negative and positive toxicity.
Yeah, I think people think I am a part of this negative toxicity within the Stadia community because I just say it as I see it, and I get labeled with this negative stuff all the time, where I'm only saying negative things about Stadia, and people miss out when I'm saying positive stuff. When I've been really positive about what has been happening over the last couple of weeks. Again, with tonight, I think me pointing about the dark side detective.
Right.
And that's what people are just going to remember. It's not going to be remember me talking about, that Stadia has had a smashing couple of weeks. There's also the positive people who have got their absolute blinkers on. And it is just mad. You can't say anything negative about Stadia at all, or it's not Stadia's fault. It's a developer's fault. It's everybody but Stadia's fault. And you get people jumping in down your throat on Twitter, jumping into your DMs and calling you all the effers of the day, and they do other stuff as well. Again, I do not want to talk about the other stuff which has happened to me because I do not want to draw attention to it because it encourages more, but it is quite nasty. So it's just, there is lots of things out there. I'll be honest with you, I probably have caused some of this toxicity, but in some people's eyes, but I haven't done it on purpose. But I think there's other people out there on social media and other places who have been doing it as well in a positive sort of way and trying to do some interesting things, which again I do not want to go on about. But I'm not going to sit here and name names and all that sort of carry because I don't think it's right, because they don't have the right of reply and things like that.
I can't name names anymore. Dad, I just put everybody's name out there. All right, fine, guys. As this day forward, I'm gonna stop calling people out and I'll inbox them or something.
Yeah, you already said you weren't going to name names earlier, so yeah. Yeah, but I think it's just real interesting in there, and some people can't take ownership of what they have caused out there because they're just too blinded. Again, I think I may have caused some, but it isn't my intent to be cause toxicity and things like that. I just say it as how I see it, and if you don't like it, unfortunately, that's my thoughts on it. And I'm sorry about that, but it is it's just how I feel at that time, and I'm not there to go out there and cause offense because I actually really upset. I really actually get really upset if I upset people out there. I actually really affects me, and I actually don't mean to. I just go out there and just say it as how I see it.
Say it like it is. The name of the show is Tell It Like It Is. That's what we do, right?
Yep, exactly.
So then why can't I just put people's names out there and tell it like it is? Come on, Duncan.
No, I'm not going to do it because I don't think it's right of reply. But I think it's like if you're doing a video on someone and they're not there to defend themselves, it's just not right. But I think it is really I wish things were better out there. If I go out here and on Twitter now and say Stadia is the best thing from sliced bread, no one will remember that. But if I go out there and say Stadia, Dark Side Detective, that is an absolute shambles, everybody is going to remember that. And people are just getting labeled fairly or unfairly at times. And I think it's just...
Not for nothing, Duncan. If you went out there and said Stadia is amazing, trust me, that's going to get a lot of attention coming from you. It is still going to not be good attention either. They're going to have a ball of time with that. Oh, this guy's trolling us now, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing. People, a lot of my tweets, some people think I'm trolling. I know, I own up when I'm messing about. I can't hold my water. I will go. I am here. I'm having a bit of fun. I'll put like a smiley face or say, no, I'm only messing about here after my tweet. But I do not go out there intentionally to go out upsetting people. Right. But I will fight my corner. But that's me.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Emma J. Again, congratulations on your recent baby, and congratulations on the awesome job you ladies did on the Stadia Bash Community Network Women's History Month. Guys, that was last month. They did an awesome job. There's more and more women streamers streaming now, like my wife and my daughter started streaming. So you guys got to check that out. But I wanted to give her a shout out. But she said anybody who denies that Stadia doesn't have flaws is wrong. She's saying that she's a Stadia fan and she can admit it. And the console wars is ridiculous. And you know what? I almost want to say we might be more ridiculous than the consoles now. I could understand why Xbox thinks they're better than PlayStation and PlayStation thinks they're better than Xbox, but we're all the same people playing Stadia, and the talk isn't even Luna's better, GFN is better. No, we're talking about my side is better because I only play Stadia. Well, my side is better because I play Stadia and other stuff.
Yeah, this is the thing. And I'm going to say this. I had a big... If you want to see a funny rant, watch over on Cloudy. I had two big, massive rants during it. And it is really funny when you look back on it. And what I ended on was... People have to remember this is games. This isn't life and death. Dude, this is people. Right. People are out there making a whole lot of things up and just getting themselves really worked up about things when it is just games and people having fun playing games. I know a lot of people, you're never off Twitter, blah, 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 you're doing this, you're stirring up. Do what I'm doing when I'm on Twitter. I'm playing a game. I am on game, cutscene or something like that, and I'm just replying to stuff. I am having fun when I'm on Twitter because I'm playing games, and that's why a lot of my tweets don't make sense. It's because I'm actually doing other stuff at the other time. I'm just...
Gaming is, gaming is up there with sports. Gaming is up there with politics, religion. Like, to be honest with you, people for ages have been diehard fans. You go back to Nintendo versus Genesis, oh, how come on Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the Ninja Turtles didn't have blood, but on Genesis they did. Like I go far back, you know, and that's just how we are. We're passionate. We like what we like, and somehow we want people to like what we like, right? And that's what it is. But guys, I hope today we answer some questions. I hope today we shed some light. Even for me, I'm a part of the 100. First of all, Alex said, when did this start? This started yesterday. We rolled out the campaign of Stadia 100 yesterday, and we probably should explain. We put a couple things explaining it, and M2TK did a great job explaining it. Clive did a great job explaining it, but yeah, ruffle feathers, so it got more drama than it was intended. But I believe that I think somebody, maybe Drake, somebody said next week we'll have a new hashtag. But you know, yeah, I mean, Duncan killed it, man. At the end of the day, it's just video games. You know, we got a lot of other pressing matters going on, but we're passionate, so it's gonna be a little war.
I like having debates with people because I like getting my mind changed on things. I want proper debates and not just mindless Stadia is brilliant, or I'll go Stadia is whatever, and it just nearly gets caught in the name calling without any real debate. I like having debates, get them in. I like seeing things out there to challenge people, because I hope when I say something to challenge your thoughts, either make it stronger or you actually go, no, that's maybe you do have a point. And I want that on both sides. I just want people to go out there and have open your mind and have fun and play games. And I think there's just Twitter is an awful place and a brilliant place all in one, because I think people have made some great friends out there and you get some good communication out there, but it is also a complete another hostile sort of place where people are completely faceless and they just send you absolute nonsense.
You see what Kelly said?
Yes. We don't talk about that. Get that off the screen.
Right. All right, sorry, I had to pull that up. Duncan is a real gamer. All right, cool. I mean, listen, I think we did a good job of talking about it. I mean, actually, I think we did it. I thought this was gonna go a little crazier. I thought the pitchforks and the torches was gonna be in the chat, but everybody was pretty cool for the most part. And I think you and me handled it pretty well. And I'm just like you, man. Listen, I've been debating since I was in grade school, not middle school, grade school. I love the debate, but I love a good intellectual debate. I love it if we're debating off facts and logic, right? I don't like necessarily the debate off of opinions and emotions. So those are two things. So if you and me could have a good conversation, you say, oh, well, this happened because of this. Instead of you're like, no, man. And it's like, well, now your feelings is involved. Like, just back the feelings down and show me your facts, you know, or make some logic out of it. And that's, so I'm just like you, man.
And just going into that, and that is why I hate the receipts business, because people can change their minds, and that is what is great. My mind gets changed all the time, and I think that is a real good positive thing. And I don't understand this mentality of keeping receipts. You said this, and I'm going to call you out in this in a couple of months' time. People's minds can get changed on everything, and I think that is healthy. If you're stuck in there and your mind is just not open to persuasion, I think that is actually wrong, and it just shows you can't change.
Yeah. Well, the receipt thing is, I'm a little older, so that's not my language, but I know people use the receipts thing. But I am going to use the receipts thing on you on March 20th, 2022.
Yeah, that's a bit of fun. We know that's a bit of fun.
Yeah, exactly. It is fun.
There's using that for a bit of fun, where it's going to be a bit of banter if that happens or doesn't happen.
God, that's going to be great.
Yes, but it's just when people are using receipts, like we're seeing this at the moment in the Xbox community by PlayStation people. About some Xbox people were saying that Death Stranding is an awful game, and they're digging up old things, and then they're saying, "Oh, you hate Death Stranding," and I just think this is just, I just hate all that. It's funny for people at the time, but I think it's just nonsense, and I think it's people change, and if you can't change, It's just bad. And you only change which is allowed if it's positive to your side of the story, which is also.
Well, let me ask you this, Duncan. When are you gonna do a content and put hashtag Stadia 100 on it?
I'll do it when I'm talking about the FIFA numbers tonight. I'll do a video where it said hashtag come join me when I look for a game of FIFA or online on Stadia. Hashtag Stadia 100. Hashtag no players on Stadia. And again, people, that is a joke. That is a joke, and that sort of happened last night.
You know what's funny? We was talking about what this thing would be called. I didn't even think about that, but that's pretty hilarious. Whoever decided, oh yeah, hashtag 100 players, 100 subscribers or whatever. That is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's to be honest, my head says no, I'm not going to be using it. I did not use the Team Stadia one either. I did not like the Team Stadia one, but for different reasons. This one at this moment in time, I do not see myself using now.
Wait. Is that because you don't want to be associated with it, or that you're not doing content, that you're not going to do content that's only a Stadia content?
We do Stadia, which is Stadia only content. Time to plug something. Next weekend, we are doing 2 big, massive live shows. We're doing a Formula 1 weekend, which is purely on Stadia. It is Stadia Grand Prix. You do the qualifying on the Saturday and the full race, as in the full number of laps of the race. That is 100% Stadia. So we do Stadia content. We do Stadia content regularly. And again, I'm going to throw some shade, as everybody says. We probably play Stadia more than a lot of some of these Stadia content creators out there. They're 100% committed and 100% on Stadia. Right. We probably play a lot more than a lot of them out there. And I'm not sure if I will use the hashtag at this moment in time. I just think it's a bit contentious, and I think if we used it, I think that may cause a lot of fallout, and I don't want to derail things as much as people.
Just so you know, when you do your stream, I'm gonna retweet your stream hashtag Stadia 100. Just so you know.
That is absolutely fine.
But we didn't do our job right, because Andy said damn it, we need pitchforks.
Yeah. But again, I just find, again, there's just so many ironic things out there in the Stadia community that I this week off Twitter, again, I have done some experimenting on Twitter. People may have seen that. Some people know about that, and it's been amazing what I've discovered. But this week off Twitter has just shown me I'm not the cause of all this dysfunction out there, because there's been.
I have to give you credit. So listen, this was the best thing that happened for you. You were nowhere to be found. And I'm not gonna lie, every time something happened in Twitter or something, I'm always like, oh, Duncan had to be a part of it. So this was like the best thing. You like, listen, I didn't, nope. And Emma did say, listen, we got to just laugh about the situation. I think we are laughing. We're having a good time, right? Oh man, here's Avery. Avery, I am upset that I missed the opportunity to make fun of you while you were playing Resident Evil. I was talking to my son and my daughter, who just recently was in a car accident. She just bought a brand new car, and I had to look at her car and blah, blah, blah. And then I was talking to Ray. He was like, oh man, the thing with Avery was cool. I was like, oh my God, I missed that. Did you watch it, Duncan?
I did not. I was sorry. I'm going to be. I will say this. I am watching less content from Stadia creators or cloud gaming creators out there. I know other creators do that as well. They've stepped back from watching other people as well. I'm just trying to focus on Cloudy and what we're doing here. So. Yeah. Again, I do pop into a couple of different streams now and again, but I'm finding it more difficult to find the time to actually jump in to watch streams. I will jump in occasionally, but
right.
I think if you ask people
out there, Avery screaming, come on, what type of Individuals don't want to see Avery screaming.
I did see the clip of Dan jumping in. That was funny.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, Cyborg told me he jumped in. I got to do that. So I went back to this comment because I've been putting comments on the screen, and then I seen Project Storm said interesting take on Stadia fanboyism. So I actually wanted to see what he said. So he said, I think there is nothing wrong with fanboyism in gaming. It's like people have their own lifelong football teams they support. Stadia fans are like supporters of the underdog football team. I agree, but I don't agree. I try not to say I'm a fanboy, right? I try to say I'm a fan only because I feel like fanboy Duncan and I think we came up with a what we like to call fanatics. I think when you're a fanboy, you're leading into being a fanatic. Would you agree with that?
Yes, it's the. I would say a blinkered, maybe fanboy. I don't. Again, that's. I actually read a comment. Let's see if I can find the person. It was a Kalash on Twitter. I think he pops up in a lot of people's feeds, and he made a thing about I don't actually see a problem with people being Stadia fans, and I think his point was well made there. However, it's just like. There is just, I think there's just a growing number of blinkered people, and they are going in more into the fanatics. And because I'll just go back to Gandara's point there, because they are the underdog, I think that makes things worse because then deep down they know that again they are the underdog and their Stadia is struggling in a number of areas. You may not think it, but I think a lot of people would probably lean that way, and they don't want to admit it because of maybe being too attached to the platform, and that's where the problems start to fester and start to become an issue, because that's when the Stadia fanatics go out there and attack everything on Twitter, and it's just not great.
Here's the thing, man. I think some people do it for entertainment. I'm not gonna lie, I do it, guys. I really don't care what you play, right? I know what I play. You can't come in my house and tell me what to play, so I know what I'm gonna play, and so I can't come in your house and tell you what to play. So I really don't care. But I do, all honesty, feel like if there's some people who so I'm gonna give you this analogy now that I'm on camera, because I said this off of camera. Look at it like this, and you can counter me whoever you want, right? And you get mad if you want, but I'm going to be honest. I look at Stadia like the happy home they were trying to build, right? And you got all these people that maybe they were a PlayStation guy, an Xbox guy, and they said, wow, we found this place we love, right? So hear me out. And I'm being I'm keeping it real, right? Tell it like it is. And then somebody, the mother or the father, said, I want to branch out. And I'm gonna, earlier I said cheat. I'll cheat on you. All right, let me not say cheat on you because that's bad. But I want to branch out and do my own thing. So the kid is like, well, hold on. I was happy with my happy home, right? No, I want to branch out and do more things. So I'm not all the way leaving the nest, but I might go bring stuff back. So what's wrong with the kid who wants his happy home? How is the kid who just want just what he had that made him happy? How are they the bad guys, right? Now I'm not knocking the person who said, you know what, I want to go do whatever. But what I don't get, because I'm coming from the Stadia 100 side, how is the Stadia one? Now, Duncan made a good point. The rollout, the timing, I get it. But the thought behind of people who just want, again, if it was an Xbox and PlayStation conversation, no one would have a problem, because you wouldn't dare tell a PlayStation guy to sit through an Xbox video to get some of his news. You wouldn't do it. You would never do it, because you know he's team Xbox and he's team Sony, and you would never compare it, right? So the cloud is so small that we're just growing, but Stadia is pretty much like the top cloud dog. But that's where I stand at. So I don't, well, for now, Duncan, sorry, for now. So
10 million users.
Well, the tech can't be matched. So I don't see the problem if you don't. And I hear the argument, well, you're never going to grow. Don't you want to grow bigger? What if somebody don't care about a YouTube channel growing? What about the guy who don't have a YouTube channel and he just want to watch somebody play Stadia games or somebody talk about Stadia? I don't see that problem. It's kind of what whoever's talked about the fanboyism. if they're a fanboy and they're a fanatic, that's all they want, right?
Here's the thing. If people want Stadia only channels will pop up. I'm telling you that now, because people will jump on to serve that niche, and I think we're seeing people go fully committed into Stadia, even though they're before, because I see there is an area there to make that comment. But I'll go back to your opening analogy there. I think cheating is probably the best way to say it, because I think that's how a lot of the people who have followed these channels, who used to be Stadia only, they feel like they're being cheated on because people are jumping ship to these different platforms. We don't have time for this, but I would go back, because Eddie dropped this bombshell earlier in the week, which everybody seems to have forgotten, about how the different content creators or different platforms approach different people. And that is spot on as well. So that is why you see, as the channels get bigger, these other people start approaching them. And I can tell you that, unfortunately, what Eddie is saying is true.
Yeah, well,
from a Stadia.
You name drop.
Yes, I did say Eddie, but I'm directing it to the tweet, because as the channels get grown, they get picked up by the other people, and when these other companies get involved, they treat you completely different to how Stadia treats you.
Well, real quick, I just want to, because Doc Dark said something. He was asking about, wow, you see, bigger cloud guys in other people videos. He was like, wow, that's kind of cool, because Xbox, PlayStation never see that. But Emma J pretty much answered it by saying that, yeah, we're smaller community, so you'll see more people. But once we grow and be massive, you may never see me and Duncan together. He might leave me, man. You know?
You can understand that, to be fair.
Yeah, well,
No, yeah, I will say this. If you ask, I would say 95% of the Stadia creators or the cloud creators, do you want to can you jump onto our show? They will say yes. Most, I think all of them do not have any sort of egos at all. And if you ask, they will go on. They may say it may not have the time, but they will jump on at some stage. Everybody out there does want the best for each other. I think I can say that. I think we all want all the different places to actually grow and do well. But it's a very welcoming thing out here. So if you want people on your show, all you have to do is ask. And the worst thing people can say is no. But I'm going to tell you, the majority are going to say yes, no problem.
Yeah. I think a couple of people are talking about us saying, you said it's only 10,000 users, 10 million, right?
Yeah.
And I said the tech is great, and now we got people asking about, hold up, but do they have Stadia have DLSS and ray tracing? Yeah, I mean, we could go tech stuff all day, but
we need to finish up. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I know you got to go. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Listen, sorry that we didn't let y'all get blood, and the pitchforks didn't come out. I personally thought it was going to be crazier, but I think Duncan and I having a conversation about Stadia 100 and you doing whatever. At the end of the day, I think we came down to it, right? The conclusion is play what you want, do what you want. If you only want Stadia content, then look out to people who only do Stadia content. But I think somebody said you said it, Duncan. You earlier. You might not know that you might like other stuff. So if you're only watching Stadia content, how would you know? But I think if you're looking for Stadia only stuff, then go for Stadia only stuff. But but it's not a problem. I'm gonna say this because a lot of people looked at me like, oh, I thought you said people was distancing themselves. And my terminology is that I used it. And tell me, is this the wrong terminology, Duncan? What I said is the people who distance themselves from Stadia. Now, I grouped in people who either changed their name or either added content, and pretty much, right? Now, distancing didn't mean you left. It just meant that, hey, if I came to your channel or I type in your channel and search it and something else come up, it's like, oh, hold on, right? So it's a distance, right? And if you added new stuff, if I came on and I'm listening to your podcast and now you're talking about something else, and let's say I was gone for a month, I'm like, wait, what the hell? Right? It could be good or bad, or what the hell, right? It could be, oh, what the hell, or what the hell. So that's my terminology, you know. And but I got, you know, kind of flagged for it. But that's the way I'm calling it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call you my yes man from now on.
Oh, look, no.
To be fair, we have debated different points where we are. I would again, if you get people in together, and again, we need to really finish this up. If you get most of the Stadia creators in together, or cloud gaming people in together, the vast majority will be on the same field. They may be in different positions in that field. And I think that is a fair thing to say. We may be at completely opposite ends, but we are in the ballpark.
Yep.
And I think some of the views on Twitter and other places just get misinterpreted, and the middle ground has just went. People think there's two extremes. Well, most people are right in the middle. And if you're slightly one way or the other, you get painted that you're extreme.
Yep. I agree. Well, Duncan, I know you got to go. Tell the people where you're going to be at next, man, so they can check you out.
I am going straight on to Cloud Gaming Extreme, where we're going to be going through all the news of the week and on all the different platforms. It could get tasty. The big news is probably what's happening with Shadow. We're going to be going over the Stadia Maker stuff, the Luna stuff, and other things like that. Of course, the Stadia stuff as well. So if you want to do that.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Just jump over there and check him out. Real quick, that's going to be on could I put real fast? Can I pull it fast? That's going to be on a Game Extreme, right? Yep,
Cloud Gaming Extreme.
All right, Cloud Gaming Extreme. Real quick. All right, I'm gonna just drop. Oh yeah, this is it. Here it goes. I'm gonna put this in the chat, guys, and you could jump right over there and check Duncan out. I'll check you out for a little bit. I'm taking my daughter out to eat and to the mall, and which is cute. But guys, make sure you check this out. Duncan, thanks for being on here, man. Thanks everybody for being on here. Sorry we didn't give you guys pitchforks and fires, but we tried as much as we could. But it was very constructive.
Yes. Same time next week, do you think?
Let's do it, brother. Same time next week. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's dead on. I need to go.
All right, later. Guys, take care.
Bye.